At this moment, you're sitting there feeling frustrated. You're analyzing your life and your current circumstances, questioning, why is this happening to me? Why am I still stuck? Where is the success I've been chasing? You've been working hard, grinding every day, putting your all into it, and still, things aren't moving in the direction you envisioned. Because of that, you're beginning to question everything. You're losing faith in yourself, in your abilities, and most painfully, you're starting to doubt whether God truly has a plan for your life. But let me share something with you that many people will never fully grasp. God is completely aware of what He's doing. The reason you don't have what you desire right now isn't because you're forgotten. It's because you're not yet equipped to handle it. I know that's tough to accept. Your pride wants to believe you're already prepared. You want to think that you're meant to have that success now, that it's already your time. But that's what separates those who win from those who fall short. True winners recognize that the journey is the actual test. The hardship you're facing isn't punishment, it's preparation. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone win the lottery and end up broke within a year? Or watched young guys make fast money in crypto, flash their lifestyle for a bit, and then vanish from the scene? Do you know why that happens? Because they achieved success before they were mentally, emotionally, or spiritually ready for it. They hadn't developed the mindset, self-control, or inner strength to sustain it. When success comes too easily, it disappears just as fast. That's why God will never place you in a situation where the blessings meant to elevate you become the very things that destroy you. That's the reason behind your current struggle. That's why your breakthrough hasn't come yet. Because if you received it today, you'd likely fumble it. Take a hard look at your life. If millions suddenly appeared in your bank account right now, would you genuinely know how to manage it? You might believe you would, but chances are you'd make poor choices, trust the wrong people, waste money on meaningless things, and before long, you'd be worse off than you are now. That's why God is making you wait. That's why you're being tested. You must be built strong enough to carry what's coming your way. Ever wonder why elite warriors endure the toughest training? Why soldiers are pushed to their limits before going to war? Because without enduring the pain, they'd be unprepared. Without the discipline, they'd collapse when it mattered most. You're going through your own version of that training. Every setback, every challenge, every moment where you feel trapped, it's all part of God shaping you into the person you're destined to become. But sadly, most people don't make it through. They give up too early. They begin to question God's plan. They start complaining, "Why me?" Instead of leaning into the process, they resist it, and that's exactly why they remain stuck. That's why so many never reach greatness, because they lack the patience and faith to trust divine timing. You need to wake up to one truth. If you haven't received what you're asking for, it's because you're still under construction. And if you give up now, you're not just forfeiting the blessing, you're missing out on the transformation that's meant to go with it. Success isn't only about achieving money, status, or power. It's about evolving into the kind of person who can carry those things with strength and humility. The process is harsh. It will tear you down. It will peel back every layer of weakness. It will force you to confront every insecurity, every flaw, every internal limitation you've been hiding from. And that's exactly why the process is necessary, because when you come out of it, you won't just have achieved success. You'll be unbreakable. But that happens only if you refuse to quit. The truth is, most people crave instant results. They look for shortcuts. They dream of waking up one day and finding their life perfectly in order, without putting in the years of sacrifice, focus, and dedication. But that's not how God operates. He doesn't grant blessings to the unprepared. He doesn't honor impatience. He honors those who stay faithful to the journey, those who keep working, keep believing, and show they're ready to bear the weight of success. So ask yourself honestly, are you truly ready for everything you're praying for? Do you genuinely believe you've done what it takes? Do you truly have what it takes to hold on to what you're asking for? Or are you simply chasing the illusion of success without doing the hard, necessary work to maintain it? Because here's the reality: the waiting period is intentional. The delay doesn't mean you're being rejected, it's part of the preparation. God isn't keeping you stuck, He's building you up. He's testing your endurance, your trust, your strength. He's watching to see if you're the type of person who crumbles when pressure hits, or the type who keeps pushing even when the odds are against them. That's the exact point where most people break. They face a few challenges and immediately assume the dream is no longer meant for them. They start to believe success was never part of their destiny, and they stop trying. They surrender, just moments before everything was about to change, just before God was ready to swing the door wide open. That doubt, that voice in your head telling you to settle, to walk away, that's not truth, that's fear. That's the enemy playing tricks on your mind. And sadly, many give in. They let fear make their decisions. But not you. Not this time. This time, you're going to keep your eyes on the journey. You're going to stay committed. You're going to trust that every obstacle, every delay, every painful moment is leading you exactly where you're supposed to be. Because if you can't endure the difficulty, you're not ready for the blessing. If you can't respect the journey, you won't reach the finish line. And believe this, when you finally arrive, you'll see the purpose behind the wait. You'll reflect on every setback, every frustrating moment, and you'll know God was working a plan the entire time. The only real question is, are you strong enough to believe that? Because the second you truly surrender to that belief, when you fully commit, when you stop doubting and start leaning into the process, everything begins to change. Ask yourself, what if what you're dealing with right now is exactly what you need to go through? What if the pain, the waiting, the discouragement, it's all shaping you into someone unstoppable? But instead of seeing that, instead of embracing it, you're sitting there asking, why me? You're letting doubt take hold. But I'm telling you, the moment you start questioning the process, you begin losing. That's when fear creeps in. That's when you start convincing yourself that success isn't for you, that maybe you're wasting your time. But that's the biggest lie of all. God isn't punishing you. He's preparing you. He's testing your strength, your persistence, your discipline. Because here's the truth. Weak men don't win. Weak men fold the moment things get hard. Weak men take the easy path, chase quick money, and avoid the grind. And what happens? They fall. They get exposed. Life humbles them. You've seen it happen. Someone gets lucky, makes fast cash, lives big, and before you know it, they're broke again. They thought they had what it takes, thought they were ready, but God reminded them, you don't get to keep what you haven't earned. That's the entire reason for the struggle. God is putting you through this for a purpose, so that when it's your turn, you don't just taste success. You're able to hold on to it. But many people lack the patience. They crave rewards without sacrifice. They want to win without ever fighting. Let me be real with you, there is no shortcut to true greatness. If you rush the process, if you chase success before you're ready, it'll break you. Because achieving something is one thing, maintaining it takes a different kind of strength. That's why you're still in the middle of the battle. That's why the results are taking longer than you expected. It's not denial, it's development. And if you give up now, if you walk away because it's hard or because it's slow, you were never ready for it in the first place. Hear me when I say this. The delay is a blessing. The struggles are a gift. Because every difficult moment is shaping you into something greater. God is watching you. He's asking, will you keep grinding when no one's cheering? Will you stay focused when nothing's moving? Will you believe in yourself when everything around you says give up? That's the test. That's what separates the committed from the quitters, the warriors from the weak, the ones who trust the process, from the ones who break under pressure. And I promise you, the moment you stop fighting the process, stop doubting the journey, and start embracing the pain, that's when your life starts to shift. Because struggle is where champions are forged. Think of a soldier going to war. He doesn't just grab a weapon and expect victory. He trains relentlessly. He strengthens his mind. He builds his body. He suffers through discipline, exhaustion, pain. He bleeds in preparation so he doesn't bleed in battle. That's you, right now. Everything you're facing, every failure, every disappointment, every time you feel like giving up, is your personal training ground. It's preparing you for the moment God says, now you're ready. But if you quit before that moment, if you walk away from the very process meant to build you, then you're walking away from the blessing itself. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the one who reaches the end of his life, looks back, and realizes he gave up too soon, that he let fear, frustration, and impatience steal the future God had set aside for him. That's the worst kind of regret, knowing the opportunity was right in front of you, but you didn't have the strength to walk through the door. But you're not going to let that happen. You're going to wake up tomorrow with renewed focus. You're going to trust the process. You're going to stop questioning God's timing and start working like a man who knows his breakthrough is inevitable. Because that's what real faith looks like. It's moving forward even when you can't see the end. It's believing that what you're doing right now matters. It's knowing deep down that everything you're facing is leading you to exactly where you're supposed to be. And when that day finally comes, when everything clicks, when all the pieces fall into place, you'll look back on every hardship, every delay, and see the purpose in all of it. You'll understand that the waiting wasn't just necessary, it was perfect. Because true success isn't just about what you gain, it's about who you become. So now I ask you, are you ready to believe in God's timing? Or are you going to let your doubts steal the future He designed just for you? Because those who rise to the top, they don't fear the process. They own it. Have you ever wondered why God doesn't just hand you success the moment you ask for it? Why every advancement feels like a trial, like you're being challenged, stretched, and worn down? Here's the reason. God doesn't want you soft, weak, or unprepared. He doesn't want you reaching the peak only to collapse under pressure. See, those who lack strength think success means riches, fame, and influence. But those with true strength understand that success is about evolution, becoming a man capable of bearing the burden of leadership, discipline, and responsibility without breaking. And how do you become that man? Through the process. The journey is what separates the determined from the wishful. It filters out those who say they want greatness but aren't ready to suffer for it. Because here's the reality. You can't fake true excellence. You either invest the effort and grow into the person who's worthy of success, or you remain trapped in mediocrity your entire life. Let me tell you something important about God. He makes no errors. If you haven't received what you're praying for, there's a reason behind the delay. There are still lessons you need to internalize. There are flaws that must be eradicated. There's discipline yet to be developed. But most of you don't want to hear that. You'd rather believe in bad luck, blame your surroundings, or create an excuse that soothes your ego. But here's the unshakable truth. If you aren't winning yet, it's because you're not fully prepared to win. And instead of resenting that, you should be grateful. Because when God places you in seasons of waiting and struggle, it's because He's forging strength in you, the kind that ensures you'll never lose again. Sadly, most people don't recognize that gift. They complain about how unfair everything seems. They ask, why me? Instead of asking, what lesson is God trying to teach me? That mental shift, from frustration to curiosity, from resentment to growth, changes everything. Because this journey isn't just about chasing success. It's about acquiring wisdom. And wisdom doesn't come cheap. It's earned through experience, through adversity, through enduring trials, and coming out more refined. Ever notice how people who've had everything handed to them often fall apart? Athletes who go bankrupt, celebrities who lose themselves, millionaires who watch their fortune vanish. That's not by chance. It happens because they skipped the process. They bypassed the hardship. And because of that, they never learned how to maintain what they were given. That's what God is shielding you from. He's making sure that when your moment of breakthrough arrives, you're equipped to preserve it. That when He finally answers your prayers, you won't squander it. And if that requires keeping you in the storm just a bit longer, so be it. Because God is far more invested in building your strength than preserving your comfort. This is the point where most people break. Not because they're not good enough, not because they lack potential, but because they won't trust the journey. Let me be clear. Most people lose right before they were destined to win. You have no idea how many walk away just before the finish line, 1 month, 1 year away from their big moment. But because the answer didn't come quickly enough, they gave up. They lost hope and abandoned the very thing God was preparing to give them. Don't be that man. Don't be the one who allows doubt to rob him of destiny. Don't let frustration cause you to turn your back on a future that was designed for you. God never promised the road would be smooth, but He did promise that perseverance would be rewarded. So ask yourself, are you willing to keep pressing forward when everything feels stagnant? Are you willing to remain disciplined when no one's around to see it? Will you still trust that every hardship, every failure, every painful delay is shaping you into someone who can carry success with integrity? Because if you can, if you refuse to collapse, if you choose not to be scared off by the process, then you are already victorious. And that's exactly who God wants you to become. So what's your choice? Will you be another man who quits? Who hides behind excuses and emotions? Or will you rise, believe in the journey, and walk confidently into the purpose God has already laid out for you? The decision is yours. This is the dividing line where the weak fall and the strong rise. Right now, in this very moment, you have a decision to make. Will you put your trust in God's plan? Or will you allow fear, uncertainty, and impatience to steal the life that was meant for you? Because here's what you need to understand. God doesn't need you to comprehend every detail of the process. He just needs you to trust it. You might feel like it's taking too long. You might feel like the pain is unfair. But God knows exactly what He's doing. He knows every struggle you need to face to become the man He created you to be. He knows which flaws need to be stripped away. He knows the precise moment to deliver what you've been praying for. The only thing in your way is you, your doubt, your impatience, your failure to realize that the waiting is a blessing, not a burden. Every moment you spend questioning why it hasn't happened yet is time you could be using to become the person who's truly ready for it. Consider this. If success were given to you instantly, would you truly be ready for it? Would you be able to carry the full weight of what it demands, the obligations, the discipline, the non-stop pressure? Many believe they're prepared, but the truth is they're not. Most haven't even mastered their emotions, their self-control, or their daily habits. That's exactly why God delays, why He allows you to go through the fire, so that when the time comes, you don't collapse under the pressure. Ever thought about why God took years to elevate some of the most powerful figures in history? Moses wandered through the desert for 4 decades before he was equipped to lead. Joseph endured slavery and imprisonment before rising to become the second most powerful man in Egypt. Even David, though chosen to be king as a child, had to endure many hardships before ever wearing the crown. Why? Because God never places unprepared men into roles of power. So if you're still in a season of struggle, still waiting for your breakthrough, it means God is still equipping you. The only way you can truly fail is by quitting too soon, by allowing frustration to convince you that the process isn't working, by letting your feelings drive you to abandon something that already belongs to you. You're simply not ready for it yet. The true test isn't whether you can handle success. It's whether you can handle the wait for it. Do you have the strength to keep pushing forward when it seems like nothing is changing? Are you disciplined enough to stay focused even when doubt is yelling in your mind? Are you faithful enough to keep moving when the finish line is nowhere in sight? Because if you can do that, if you can stick with the process even when everything feels like it's falling apart, hear this loud and clear. God always knows what He's doing. He's never behind schedule. He never makes mistakes. While you only see a fragment of your story, he sees the entire plan from beginning to end. And if you can muster the courage to trust him, to lean into the pain, to embrace the lessons, and to refuse to give up, then success is no longer a question of if, but simply when. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep doubting? Keep fighting the process? Keep letting frustration chain you down? Or will you wake up tomorrow and declare, God, I trust you. I trust the journey you've laid out for me. I will keep moving forward no matter what. Because that is the moment everything changes. That's when the struggle stops being your enemy and becomes your greatest weapon. The ones who win in life aren't the ones who avoid the hard road. They're the ones who step into it, fully committed. And if you can do that, if you can hold steady and trust in God's perfect timing, then one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday soon, you'll look back at every obstacle, every tear, every battle you survived, and you'll say, now I understand.